Not a 10. No, I look at that position the way I look at the running back position, and that is a luxury.
Some thoughts from Caleb Williams, Tommy, regarding working under center.
Yeah, it's just it's the whole thing. It's working. Getting up to the line, and it's like visualizing, like getting up to the line, saying the cadence, being under center, controlling those things, going over the routes, concepts, the footwork in your head in the off season, so that when those times hit and it's fourth quarter, and you can't think about those things, and you can't focus on those things. It's second nature, second habit, first nature, first habit of doing that, and getting under there, and going through the cadence, going through the huddle sequence, getting up to the line, making checks if needed, or anything like that. So it's practicing those things now, visualizing those things now, and building on those.
Jesus, Caleb, lunch coming up early. Jeez, comport yourself in a better way, Tommy.
Wow. Fine.
Well, that's exactly what I thought too. Excuse me, sorry, Courtney. Lunch.
You know what? I think it's all going to help him play with a little more discipline. I think that what was his problem in college at times, that he would try to do too much and play hero ball, and I think we saw that last year at times. I think when you're under center, and like he described everything that's going on, you've got to kind of play more within the structure of the offense, and I think it'll all be beneficial for him. Guys, this is why I was so adamant about wanting Ben Johnson as their head coach, because I think he's going to come in here and he's going to demand that Caleb do things a certain way, which ultimately are going to pay huge dividends.
Tommy, in terms of looking at this team, and Shea did a really, really impressive breakdown of the top tight ends, Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren. Where are you on the need to get a better amount of action from your tight end? Is Cole Kmet the guy that can do that? The guy they signed from Miami as a free agent, more of a Mercedes Lewis-style blocking guy. Where are you on what they need to do at tight end? And would you take a tight end if you thought one was really good at 10?
Not a 10. No, I look at that position the way I look at the running back position, and that is a luxury at this point as they're still building their team at the line of scrimmage. I think that I watched a lot of tape of Tyler Warren, and he's a really good football player. Don't get me wrong. And he'll be a good player in the National Football League. He's Cole Kmet, in my opinion. Now, some may say he may develop into a better player. His measurables are, in fact, if you go back and look at Cole's combine measurables, they're better than Warren's. He's taller. He's got a larger wingspan. He's got bigger hands. The vertical jump was better. They're comparable in terms of 40 speed. The kid's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that. My point is I think they kind of play the tight end position in a similar fashion. And I, at this point, I'm cool with them moving forward and Ben Johnson trying to turn Cole into what we saw with their tight end.
Sam Laporta.
Yes. Now, is Laporta ultimately going to turn out to be a better receiver over the course of his career? Maybe. But I just – look, I don't think Cole's a top 5 tight end, but I think he's a better player than we saw last year for a number of reasons. I don't think he's only going to be targeted 52 times or whatever the number was. It was just – there were times when he wasn't even involved. He wasn't on the same page with the quarterback. And I thought – we've had this conversation in the past. This is where I think that Keenan Allen came in and a true pro, but he may have kind of stunted the growth, I think, of this offense in certain ways, because I thought that Caleb looked to Keenan at all times. I think it also affected Rome Odunze's progress, and it also affected his rapport with his tight end. And now that Keenan is not part of it. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he was poison in the room. I just think that there was an over-reliance on Keenan and the relationship that Caleb had built with him, and he became, the security blanket in the first, second, and third read at times. So I would, Cap, though, look at a tight end. I do think they need someone that plays the position a little bit differently. Like even in Detroit, you don't have 2 Sam Laportas. You have Sam Laporta and somebody that isn't going to cost you the 10th pick of the draft, So I would be just fine with them trying to get more out of Cole, find a guy later in the draft because it's a deep draft at the tight end position. If you want to find someone that's more the Trey McBride type or the George Kittle in terms of measurables. But no, I would not draft a tight end nor a running back at 10 at this point, not with where they're at.
I think a lot of us around the station feel the same. It's like you got to solidify those lines.
Yeah.
Like they still have not done enough for me on the defensive line to make me think that they can get to the quarterback on a regular basis. It's an improvement from last year, but you always can use more, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jonathan. And look, I think we refer to what the Eagles did, just rotating guys in. The offensive line, maybe Amagaji's a guy that develops into the player they had hoped he would be. At this point, Braxton Jones, as we hear, may not be 100% available for training camp. I would have no problem if you decide that Will Campbell's your guy from LSU and you're comfortable with his arms. I would have no problem with them taking him at 10.
I have a man question to ask, a man question.
Bring it on.
Okay, so the Browns had their press conference, the owners, Jimmy and Dee Haslam, side by side at an oval table in the press conference, and the quote was, "We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. We thought we had a quarterback and we didn't. We gave up a lot of draft picks to get him, so we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole. The trade was an organizational decision, and it ends with D and I, so hold us accountable." Tom, in that spot, even though your wife might be co-owner, do you say that, hold me accountable? Do you throw the wife under the bus too?
It's a great question.
We really screwed up, so, it's on me, but it's definitely on Michelle. It's on her. I don't think I'd do that. In that spot.
Like, would you go to the podium and go, look, this was a Cara decision. I mean, she's a moron on football.
Well, what if it was her decision?
Well, then you're a moron for allowing your wife who doesn't know football to make that call.
Oh!
Why doesn't she not know football?
Well, if that's what you were intimating.
No, I wasn't. What I was intimating is maybe this was more of a 50-50 decision. Look, in Cincinnati, Mike Brown's daughter is their general manager, basically. So, if they got, I know they're not married, that'd be weird. But if he sat at the table in a similar situation, Mike Brown and his daughter said, you know what, we decided this and that.
That's different.
Well, right, because
Dee
Haslam's
not
GM.
a football person.
But he says, hold D and I accountable. And I just as a guy, as a husband, I would just take all of it. Right?
Yeah, I get that. Why? But if she doesn't have a loud voice in the room and an impact on the decision making, why would she be there sitting at that table in the press conference?
Because they do everything together,
including making quarterback decisions. It sounds like
that sucks.
D, what do you think? Should we give this guy $230 million? He's only got a little bit of a lotion problem.
It sounds fine, hon.
Whatever you think.
Give him a second chance.
I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I'm not going to make a comment that extends that vacation weeks from now.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I think you've got a truncated program.
Yes, we do, because of White Sox baseball. And who thought that team couldn't get worse this year, huh?
Wow.
Sorry, Jonathan.
It's all right,
By the
buddy.
way, did you see Martin Perez, what he said after his first start? We got plans deep in September.
Yes.
I saw that.
So you meant vacation plans. Yeah. He's going to take care of that early. Instead of having to wait till October.
He met him and his wife, Dee.
Yeah.
And they're going somewhere else to pitch.
There you have it.
All right.